Hi guys! So, I was so excited to talk about this today that I didn't even care about changing out of my home clothes, or I'm not even sure that I brushed my hair today, but it has a heart, so I hope that it's cute. So, hi guys! Actually today I woke up in such a weird mood and I was pretty grumpy, like not in a good way. I was pretty grumpy all morning, and then the moment that I decided to take out the camera, it kind of turned around in a way, so I am very happy to be here as always. And today, actually what I wanted to talk about, I had an idea yesterday while doing yoga, which is not the best way. Like, you have to focus when you do yoga, but I get ideas when I do yoga, okay? It is what it is. So, I was thinking about happiness, and it came to me because I was thinking about that. Well, I mean, Germany is not in the best shape right now. They might close everything again and like put us in quarantine, which we already are sort of in a quarantine, but well, I mean, doesn't matter. So I caught myself being kind of scared of having to stay at home on my own for another, I don't know, weeks or something. And I mean, in the end, that kind of got me thinking, why am I so scared of it? Why do I feel intimidated by the possibility of spending time with myself? So that means that if you are not comfortable with spending the time with yourself, with no distractions like other people or museums or cinema or something like that, that means that there is something inside of you that you don't want to see. And when you get left alone on your own, like closed off in your apartment, for example, you are faced with something that you don't want to face. And actually, the first quarantine that was in March or April was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because first of all, I finished my dissertation because I had nothing else to do. And then when I was finished with that, I just kind of started looking into myself, and I found a lot of things that I was actually pretty happy about. And it was maybe the last time that I felt so really happy. And so lately, because we have been kind of in a quarantine, so everything is closed, you basically cannot go to a restaurant or a movie or a museum or whatever. And I mean, it's super cold and dark outside, so you kind of stay at home anyway. And I was also kind of forced into just looking within and going like deeper into my own self. And this caused me to think a lot about happiness and how we perceive it and how we chase it and why people are actually unhappy. So my idea about it is that happiness is a state that, let's say, everybody wants. So I don't know anyone who actually wants to be unhappy. Some people kind of almost consciously choose to be unhappy because it's familiar, it's comfortable, but this is a whole other topic. But in general, so happiness is a state that more or less everybody wants, right? And well, I think it's pretty common to kind of chase goals thinking that they are gonna bring us happiness. So money, fame, power, sex, I don't know, like thinking I will only be happy if I get this exact person as a partner, or I will only be happy if I get this exact amount of money. You can name it, like it can be whatever, it doesn't have to be materialistic. And well, the thing is that when we set a goal or when we say kind of something like that, I think what we do is we substitute the idea of happiness. So we actually want happiness, and we think that this thing that we want is gonna give us happiness. So we chase the thing because we think that we are chasing happiness, but actually maybe it is not even that. So I kind of, well, I mean, okay, a little bit of a personal story. When I got my thesis defended a couple of months ago, I kind of was spiraling down into a sort of, well, I don't want to say depth of despair, but some sort of a questioning everything in life. Let's call it like this, because, well, I mean, you get somewhere that you really wanted to get for a long time, and then you get there and you understand that like your life didn't really change, like nothing really changed, and you're still your old self and you still have the same old issues and the same old problems, and it's not the place where you live, it's not the title that you have, it's not the partner that you have, it's just really here. And so the point what I'm trying to make is that when we chase something that is external because we think that it's gonna give us happiness, we kind of lose sight of what really matters in the process. Because maybe while we are like, I'm not saying that it's not good to set goals, it's perfect to set goals, and like we need to set goals because otherwise we are not going to advance anywhere. We will just kind of, I'm not saying we should just all stay in our apartments looking for happiness within us. Like, it's part of the journey, but it's not all of the journey. Of course you have to get out in the world and you have to try stuff and you have to set goals and achieve things, because this is how we get feedback back from the world. But this is the problem. So when we set a very, very rigid goal and we want to reach it, I think we forget that oftentimes we get signs on the way that maybe it's not exactly gonna bring you happiness, or maybe you should kind of change your course a little bit, or, well, in the end. So I think we need to separate kind of what we are chasing and why from the feeling of happiness that we actually want to achieve. So when we set ourselves a goal and we kind of work towards it, I think it's important to kind of sit down with yourself every now and then and think, why do I want it? What is it gonna give to me, in my opinion, and how else can I give it to myself, especially if it like depends on other people, because or on other outside circumstances that we cannot control. But what we can control is actually within ourselves. And it's also something that I've talked on this channel a lot about, the law of attraction and all this kind of stuff, and now it's going to get a little bit more spiritual, so if you're not into this kind of stuff, just click away. I think I've always been talking about like the universe giving you stuff and blah blah blah, the universe talking to you, and I hear a lot of people using this kind of language. But what I think actually is the mistake here is to kind of put the point of reference or the point of control outside of yourself. So it's kind of replacing God just with the name universe, and there is nothing wrong with believing in God or believing in universe or believing in whatever it is. I just kind of started seeing it for myself now as kind of your own true self, and it's not something external that can reward you or punish you for following or not following some set of rules. It's just your inner true self that actually already has all the answers, and the goals what we set, I think they correspond kind of sort of to this like true knowledge that we have inside of us already, but sometimes they're just a little bit kind of drifting apart because we are humans and we are flawed, and there's like our perfect sense of self, our perfect inner self that is there, sometimes just kind of gets dimmed, is it a word, dimmed, by other like internal voices in our heads, the trauma, kind of this outer layer of some garbage that, I don't know, our culture brings it and stuff like that. So I think that the kind of the true pursuit of happiness is kind of just trying to understand yourself more and listen to yourself more and kind of find this one true self and do what it tells you, and that will bring you happiness. And it doesn't always 100% correspond to your goals, but I think that we all know, if we listen to ourselves at least a little bit, we kind of already know down deep inside what we want and what we truly want. Because sometimes we want something just because it's perceived cool by society, or because other people have it and they seem happy, and we think that if we have it we will also be happy. But this is a mistake. So I think only if we pursue something that actually our own true selves actually want, only then we can be truly happy. I hope it did make some sense, because when I speak it out loud it kind of makes way less sense than it does in my head somehow. One more thing that I wanted to tell you, which is also a little bit more personal, is that I feel like in the last couple of years I sort of lost myself a little bit in the pursuit of perfection. So while I was working on myself and working with a therapist, and I learned so much about psychology, and I like read every psychology book out there, and I listened to every lecture on like YouTube and Coursera, and I've learned so much about what like normality or normal person looks like, that I was pursuing that. So I was pursuing the image of psychological normality or like psychological health, and I kind of lost my true desires and my true self and kind of like my true meaning and calling in this process, because I was kind of too focused on being like perfectly normal, perfectly psychologically happy, perfectly physically fit. And I mean, I'm like intellectually in every area of my life, I was kind of pursuing that sense of perfection, thinking that it would bring me happiness. And now that I get a lot of time with myself and I think more about it, and I started looking at pictures of myself 5-6 years ago, and I was talking to my friend and I just told her it kind of seemed like everything was more real back then, like kind of more sincere. And that made me pretty sad, because it's not like I'm fake now or that I'm like less me or something, but I kind of stopped listening to what my inner self was telling me, because I got all of this idea of how things should be, and I was trying to pursue them so much, and I achieved like all of it, but it didn't really bring me true happiness. And this is somehow how I got a little bit disappointed in psychology, because when you fit the definition of psychological health, that doesn't bring you happiness somehow. So, well, I mean, if right now I go to any therapist, and it already happened, like I did, they will tell me, you are absolutely normal, like there is nothing we can do for you, you're like absolutely mentally healthy. And I was super frustrated a couple of like a year and a little bit, like I was very frustrated, because I understood that kind of I fit all criteria of a totally psychologically normal person, but I didn't feel happy, and I actually felt more frustrated, well, I wouldn't say than ever, but I felt pretty frustrated, let's say it like this. And then I realized that there is more to it, and I think that like it's so sad that we don't get it naturally. It's so sad that we have to work on finding our true selves. And it sounds so like, what even is the true self? But because we listen to the outside world so much, we get lost in these images of like perfection and the images of what happiness actually is. But if everybody just would follow their own inner bliss or whatever, like it all sounds so wishy-washy, and I don't really like how it sounds, but I think it's pretty rational and pretty logical that nobody except you knows what you actually want. And in order to know what you actually want, you have to kind of shut down the voices of the outside world, focus on what your inner world is telling you, and meditation helps with that a lot. And then you will kind of find some answers, because I think, as I said, the answers are already inside of us, and there is no such thing as like the universe who's gonna punish you or reward you for something, because I think this kind of thinking is kind of a little bit childish, and it kind of also takes the responsibility away from you. So it's kind of, oh, I will follow this set of steps, this set of rules, and then I will get what I want, because it's like Santa Claus that brings you presents for being a good girl in the end of the year. But it's not like that. It's just literally, you are in control of your life, you are the master of your own happiness. And it sounds like I hear how it sounds, and it sounds horrible, but I really like, I mean, this cliche phrases like you're either happy right here right now, or you're not happy anywhere ever. This is so freaking true. Like, it's really true, and there is no other way to say it. It's really like this. And if you're not happy right now, no amount of like external love, money, appreciation, fame, sex, drugs, gambling, internet, whatever. Like, it's not gonna bring you the sense of happiness. It's gonna distract you, but it's not gonna give you what you're looking for. And the thing is that I'm super confused, and it's not like I know what I'm talking about. I'm just kind of, I realized what it's not, but it's not like I've realized what it is either. So if there will be another quarantine, I will get more time to sit with myself and think about it, and maybe then I figure it out and then I can share it with you. But until now, until then, well, it is what it is. This was the most random video of just me rambling about stuff for many minutes. If you're still here, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Like you very much. Bye.